All right, guys. Sorry for the delay. What's up? We got some big time news to share. Some interesting stuff coming down from the NCAA that is insider info. You will not get this info anywhere else. You will only get that here on the Elite Sports Advising. Call it the Daily Show. All right. The people that are most connected inside college baseball. So, greetings, Buck. Buck, what's up, man? Scott Harrington, hello from Kansas. What's up, Scott? Barks, what's up, man? How you doing? Canes, Miami's cooking and pushing when Arteaga is back on Twitter. Hey, for sure. Oregon looks like an Omaha contender. Yeah, I mean, no surprise. Oregon sweeps the 4 games against Oregon State. And again, it's like you don't even have to know the game. Again, it's not like I've watched a bunch of Oregon State's games and said, oh, I've watched them a bunch, so I know they're not as good as they're ranked. It's you just look at the schedule and look how they've performed against like decent teams and even like some bad teams. You just read between the lines and you realize like they're not a top 10 team. They're probably not even a top 15 team. Are they like a back end of the top 25? Yeah, probably. But again, no surprise. Let's look at some stuff. Let me make sure I have this here. Let me email this. So I can bring this up on screen for you guys. So bear with me for a second because this is going to be. You guys are going to be. There's one. Now, what I'm different look today, Kyle. He's going all brown today, grind mode. Yeah, I know. I just changed my hat. I'm going to be ordering some new like custom hats for Elite Sports Advising as well soon. I just got tired of wearing the same white hat every day, so I'm going to get some black ones and like some more army green ones. Please send. All right, guys. So basically, Jayhawks might be for real. Oh, I think they're definitely for real, Scott, for sure. I mean, like the question is like, are they for real against like an SEC team in a super regional? We'll have to see. But I think definitely they've proven like they're just dominating. Legit home field advantage, yeah, and they're getting crazy fans, man. Like they're getting crazy support from the fans, which is awesome. Different look today. Yeah, you already said that, Coach K. Hey, what's up, Coach? How's your high school team looking? We play second round of the playoffs tomorrow. How long have we been live? Like 3 minutes. I just came on screen, Dusty. We got some inside info here that we're going to be sharing with the stream. I'm just making sure I can send this to my email so I can get this on screen. So just bear with me for a second here, guys. We're going to pull this up, and then we'll talk about everything else. Sending that as well. All right, let's see what we got. All right. Now, let me see if I can pull this up. Yeah, here we go. Let's go get that ring. Hey, that's hopefully. Are you going to break news? Yes, I'm going to break news route. I'm just trying to make sure I can share this so everybody can see it. And I'm trying to make sure I don't, give away our sources. Here we go. All right, perfect. I'm going to make sure I save this in the right spot. All right, here we go. One. So, guys, what I have to show you is an email that was sent to coaches today from the NCAA. And we're gonna read through it together. We're gonna look at what it says and what is gonna be. Let's save this picture as well. All right, boom. All right, we're good now. All right, so we're gonna pull this up now. All right, guys, are you ready? All right, here we go. We're pulling this up on stream. Let me make sure I got everything set. I will go off cam for a second. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. All right. Now let me stretch this thing out. Good amount of JUCO guys in camp. Yep, for sure. All coaches are just baseball. All coaches for baseball. Let's pull this up now. All right. NCAA Division I coaches, I'm writing to update you on some important legislative developments that affect our sport, including some possible changes to the roster limits for 25-26 due to the current status of the House settlement. Roster limits of 34 and existing student athletes. As previously communicated for the 25-26 season, the roster limit for institutions that opt into the House settlement will be 34 players. However, with the latest delay of House settlement approval, Judge Wilkins said that her only remaining concern is that the roster limits should not be immediately implemented due to current athletes losing their spots on teams. She previously suggested that current athletes should be grandfathered in. With that, the exact roster limit rules and the treatment of existing student athletes may still evolve. So we don't know. They're saying it could evolve. We will keep you informed as the new information becomes available. Withdrawal of the proposal for fall roster limit of 38. Due to the uncertainty surrounding the House settlement and the roster limits for the upcoming season, I am tabling our proposal for the fall roster limit of 38 for this year. Given the current climate of uncertainty, we did not want to add another variable for coaches to manage. Our job is to make coaches' jobs easier, not harder. However, I still believe that establishing a fall roster limit of 38, as coaches voted in favor of during the ABCA convention this past January, is where we need to be in the future. It is the right thing to do for student athletes during the recruiting process and will enhance roster stability for everyone. Moving forward, see if I can get this in here. Although it will not be mandated, I encourage you to limit the number of student athletes you bring in for the fall to those who you believe have a legitimate chance of playing for and contributing to your team. Okay. Now let's stop sharing that one. I'll bring up the next one. Let's see. All right, let's bring up the next one now. All right. Although it will not be mandated, I encourage you to limit the same thing we just read to those who you believe have a legitimate chance of playing for and contributing to your team. As we all know, bringing in too many players will disrupt those student athletes' academic trajectory and leads to flooding the transfer portal, further complicating the landscape that coaches are already managing. Doing your part to manage your roster size effectively will help maintain the integrity of the recruiting process and the development of your teams. I wish we had the certainty that we are all looking for, but this is where we stand at the moment. I'm hopeful we will have more answers by the end of the season, and we'll keep you updated as new information becomes available. Further complicating the landscape that coaches are already managing, blah, blah, blah. I wish we had the certainty. Thank you again for your continued feedback and commitment to our sport. If you have any questions or need further clarification about how you should move forward, please reach out to your compliance department. I will not be able to provide any further information than what is in this email, which is why you need to communicate with your compliance department about specific questions. And there we go. Okay. So what that would suggest is that we are not going to. It looks like the House settlement's not going to get decided for a while now. That was an email sent to us from a Division I Southeast school, and that email was sent to every coach I know at the Division I level. Yeah, I'm still taking 40 freshmen in this season. Shoot, like essentially they said like, hey guys, please don't bring in a lot of guys in the fall. Like, and again, that like this could change, but again, when you're sending out an email like that to coaches, if you read between the lines, I think what they're saying is like it doesn't look like this House settlement's going to get settled anytime soon, right? White House, what's up? What's the news? We just read an email that was sent from the NCAA to all Division I coaches, basically saying we don't know what's going to happen, right? The House settlement is getting delayed. And so because of that, they're lifting the 38-man roster for the fall. You can bring in as many guys in the fall you want to. But basically they're like, but please don't bring in too many guys in the fall because we want to, again, we don't want to flood the transfer portal and create all those issues. But again, like that's a bad sign for the House settlement if you're sending out an email like that. So no increase in scholarships, or is that still a full go for this spring? It could be, Canes. Like that's the issue. It could, until that House settlement is approved, you don't get to use any extra scholarships. So again, I put out a video that will be out later today talking about some schools and just talking about the conferences that we've had conversations with in the last couple weeks. And they're all saying the same thing. Like, we don't know what we're going to do. We're like, again, we're in the holding pattern. Like if this House settlement goes through, we're probably going to have to cut some guys. The schools that didn't make those cuts in the fall, like they're going to have to make those cuts at the end of the season, maybe. Or maybe guys in, maybe some guys in the current, the 25 class, they're still committed, right? And that's it. So again, that's just a bad sign that generally speaking, like the House settlement, like there's real concern with the House settlement right now. And again, I think the NCAA is going to have to give. Like the NCAA is just going to have to give on the grandfathered in roster people. And again, from the coaches that I've talked to, they've all basically said this. A lot of them have said the same thing. They're like, yeah, they may get grandfathered in, but like our schools are probably going to tell us, hey, you're not going to carry 40 guys. You're not going to carry 38 guys. You're going to carry 34. Because then we don't got to pay for, hotel rooms or this or that, or, shell out more meal money when school gets out. And so again, that was sent out this morning from the NCAA to Division I coaches. I don't know if it was sent out to other levels, but I mean, again, what was said in the email was like, listen, hopefully by the end of the season we have some more clarity. But again, I think if you thought that was the case, this is and what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that you're only sending that email if this is really, really disrupting the recruiting process. So there will be like team inflicted limits for rosters. Yeah, I talked to an ACC coach yesterday who told me it doesn't matter if they get grandfathered in. Our school's going to tell us. The schools are going to tell us that we can only have this many guys. Your ESA guys on Pensacola State are tearing it up this year. 100%. They're killing it. They're killing it. I'm going to go turn this light on over here. 1 second. It's looking a little dark. Don't be afraid, guys. I'm back. Those of you guys who are here, yeah, I forgot to turn my light on for the stream, so that was smart. If any of you guys join late and you're like, "What's the breaking news? What's that?" Just don't hesitate to ask questions. It's it's funny. I was talking to another guy this actually a few minutes ago, and I think those of you guys who follow the channel and follow the live streams consistently, like you've heard me. What was my phone just made some weird noise? You've heard me talk about that. How weird is it that and again, like Kendall Rogers, he's really good at getting out the coaching hot boards, right? He's obviously very well connected. Mississippi State Lemonis gets fired. And I'm not talking within like 20 minutes, he's talking about I'll have a coaching board up like soon, all that with candidates and like information on their buyouts, all that stuff. Danny Hall announced his retirement over a month ago at Georgia Tech, and there's no hot board. And I was talking to a coach about that, literally right before I got on the stream, and he was like, "Yeah, it's weird. Like it's like he's like I've never seen Kendall Rogers not put out a hot board because he does a great job with it too. It's like I want to read who he thinks the candidates are. Right? It's just good. It's kind of nice to have something out there to look at and read and be like, okay, like maybe that's a good candidate, maybe not. I don't, that is literally terrible news for Miami. This is devastating. Now we have no chance to win a Natty next year. Not necessarily, Canes. Not necessarily. Again, like the settlement could get approved tomorrow. It's just what I think what the email was really about. Excuse me. I think what the email is really about is trying to give coaches some information as far as recruiting, because every coach in like every Division I conference you can think about right now, when we talk to them, they're just like, we don't know what we can do. Like the house settlement hasn't been approved yet. We don't know what the roster limits are going to be. Like, are we going to go to 34? Is it not going to get approved? And then are we back to 40 then? Like what happens next? So I think that email was a way of saying, okay, listen, we're lifting the 38 man roster, because again, how can you limit their recruiting to 38 next fall if the house settlement hasn't been agreed to yet? Like players are going to be on campus in like 5 months, right? 4 months. They're going to be on campus in less than 4 months. Who is the new candidate that Kendall Rogers put on the Mississippi State hot board? It's Butch Thompson, Auburn's head coach. Now we have to dish out an extra 20 to 30% more in NIL just to cover the scholarship cost for the kids. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a bad situation, and again, this is the problem with when they announce something like they did with the house settlement, like months and months ago, and so teams started kind of already making preparations. They were cutting, like a lot of teams were cutting guys, because it was basically assumed this was going to be a for sure thing. And now, like, it hadn't been approved yet, and we're going to be in May tomorrow. So again, I just think that email was basically like, hey, listen, we're going to give you some concessions. You don't have to have 38 guys in the fall. Kyle, we need you to settle the debate that has taken over social media. Who would win in a fight, 100 humans or one gorilla? One gorilla. If the humans do not have weapons, because what you have to understand is like who are going to be the guys that actually go charge to their death to get the gorilla? Like, there's not many dudes that are going to be fearless charging a gorilla, because the first guy that gorilla gets his hands on, like his arms are getting popped off his body. So I think the gorilla wins for sure. I heard Lemonis got fired. Yeah. Yep. This is a hot mess, and it's stressing me out as a parent of a 27 high schooler. Patrick, I think the good thing, like, let me preface it with, like, I think this house settlement thing will get figured out somewhat soon, like certainly within the next month or two. Again, I could be wrong, but I just don't think they're going to let this kind of sit in limbo much longer, because it is making it impossible for schools to recruit. Because if you're sitting there as a recruiter and you're like, well, if we don't, the South settlement doesn't go through, we can add this many guys. If it does go through, we may have to cut guys. And like, so it's like, how do you recruit anybody if you don't know which way it's going to go? Because that's literally the difference. Some schools are saying if it goes through, we're going to have to cut guys. If it doesn't go through, we're going to have to add. So like you can't make a move until you know what's going to happen. The usual elegant handling of the issue by the NCAA lawyers. Exactly. My ass would be running back home after I see gorilla in person. Yeah, I mean, dude, like a silverback gorilla. Good. I ain't charging that thing. I saw somebody post. It was like, these are the 100 humans it would take to take down the gorilla, and it was like Ray Lewis, like the actor that plays Thor, like The Rock, probably like that half Thor, strongest man guy. It would take a unique set of 100 individuals, dude. Because that gorilla could just like literally probably punch you and you'd fly like 20 feet. Like a chimpanzee is like 3 or 4 times stronger than like the strongest human. How much stronger is a gorilla? You know, like a gorilla is probably like 10 times stronger than the strongest human. So like one punch and you're done. Like one punch and you're done. You're broke. Your ribs are cracked. You're out of the fight. Like he's just got to get a club on you and you're gone. Oh, wow. So someone was talking to Missouri's AD on the state of the baseball program, who, if you don't know, Missouri is 0-21 in the SEC right now. He said, we have not invested at the level that we need to, candidly. You think Butch would leave Auburn for Mississippi State? I don't know. I think the question, like, because obviously Auburn's in a weird, like, Auburn has been a very good contender in the SEC since Butch Thompson has got there. They've had a few bad years, but like all the other years, they're like in a super regional or they're in the World Series. So like Butch Thompson's done a heck of a job at Auburn. I think the question for him, you know, he was an assistant at Mississippi State. I do know from talking to him, like I have a pretty good relationship with Butch. He may be my best relationship in the SEC as a head coach. And I mean, he loves Auburn, dude. Like he loves going and fishing. And like, I think he loves Auburn. So in my mind, just from knowing how much he loves it there, again, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. You never know if, like, sometimes you'd be like, why would he leave there? And then all of a sudden you hear like, oh, the AD and him didn't have a great relationship or they didn't see eye to eye and things like that. But just like from a surface level, I think it would have to be a pretty big offer from Mississippi State to get Butch Thompson. I think he's got a pretty cheap buyout. So that could be, again, it's a question of like, again, for Nick Mingione from Kentucky, or Nick Mingione, like his buyout is like $7 million. So you're going to have to pay a buyout and then pay him a good salary, right? So it's just a question of what Mississippi State really wants to do, because that's a massive buyout. Like that's a massive buyout in baseball. How will this affect the lower level schools now, and how will they start recruiting? Well, I mean, that's the question, Brad. I mean, like, again, I have a video coming out later today. It's going through like, you know, the MAC, the SoCon, the Sun Belt, the A10, the NEC, the American East. And they're all saying the same thing. Like, we don't know what we're going to do. Even the teams that are saying, teams that are saying like, we're going to opt out of the House settlement. Well, it's like, well, what are going to be the rules still? Because everyone's assuming the House settlement is going to get approved, but no one knows. And there's just a lot of schools like just there's no other way to say it. They're just in limbo right now. That's it. Auburn also doesn't have in-state lottery. They have to rely on NIL. Yep, they do. I think you're probably getting. I think you're getting better NIL at Mississippi State. But again, it's just I think Butch Thompson loves Auburn. I don't think he wants to leave unless it's like something he can't turn down. You know. Do you think that's a sign Missouri is going to start investing in baseball? I don't know. Like it's one thing to say, yeah, we haven't invested at the level we need to. That's another thing to say we're going to invest at the level we need to. So I don't know. First step, move to the Big Ten. Also makes me wonder if Missouri is going to make a coaching change. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, who knows what can happen there, man? I just don't know. I don't know what the expectations are at Missouri. Like again, I'm sure they're higher than 0-21, but are they like you need to make the SEC tournament every year? Is that the bar, or is it, do we want to be making the NCAA tournament every year? So it's the question what the expectations are. But certainly this year has been below probably whatever the expectation is. What is Zeke saying? Exactly the same thing, man. It's just like, generally, I talked to Zeke the other day about what Kent State's looking for, and they need a few pieces, but he's like, and this is the same thing you will hear from every coach, is we know we're probably going to need a few pieces, but like we really don't know to what extent we need people until the portal opens up. Because he said it perfectly. He's like, we may have an exit meeting with a guy and he'll tell us, we'll be pretty sure he's coming back. And he even told me this. He goes, I think we're going to bring a lot of our guys back. I think a lot of guys are going to come back, but he's like, you never know. So that's what every school is like. Even you're just waiting to see who leaves in the portal. Do you think that's a sign Missouri is going to start investing? How would it affect an independent like Oregon State? Are you talking about the House settlement? I don't know, man. That's a good question. I don't know. NCAA fueling the upcoming future exodus, forming a super division. Yeah, I mean we've talked about that, Scott. I mean, I think obviously the TV deals for some of the major conferences start ending in like 2029 to 2031 or something. So I think if a super division, super conference type thing were to happen, it would be probably closer to around 2030 is when that would probably happen. But yeah, I mean, this is all this drama that's happened in the last 3 years with the NCAA, with the major sports. It's just making it to where like these conferences are like, as soon as we can get out of here, we're going to get out of there. I think Auburn has good NIL. They flipped Parker Grants from us. Still not happy about it. Yeah, they do. They do. And again, Auburn has to have decent NIL because, like you've said, they don't have like the state lottery scholarship that makes them able to just like dominate in-state players. So they have to have good NIL. Does LSU and Texas have the best NIL in college baseball? LSU certainly is up there. Texas is up there. I don't know if certainly LSU is probably up there at the best. Texas is probably close. Like a lot of those Texas schools, you guys know. I mean, they got oil money. The kid, high school, is closer to Auburn than Miami, though, and he is in the state of Florida, close by Zach. Also, I wonder what Oregon's NIL for baseball is like. Yeah, I'm not sure. Couple the current state of affairs, NIL portal uncertainty with losing guys in the draft, but settlement uncertainty. A coach could end up with a 6-person recruiting class, even at a Power 4 school. Fun time to be a coach. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and that's what my video is about. That's you'll see today. It's just again, it's every coach is saying the same thing, like at all levels. Who are we going to lose in the portal? We don't know. What's going to happen with the House settlement? We don't know. So it's just everybody is in limbo, and they've been in limbo really from a recruiting standpoint, outside of like tier 1 players. Like high school or college recruiters in baseball have been in limbo for like the last 8 months because I mean you just really don't know what's going on, and that's what that email we showed was about. That was about trying to give coaches some leeway because nothing solid has come out yet. There's been no. You guys read it. I mean, there's just like the House settlement's been delayed. There's a lot of uncertainty about it. We don't know what to do. So like you can bring in more than 38 guys in the fall. That's why it's better to over recruit than under recruit. Sure. I mean, Listen, the problem with over recruiting is that when you get that reputation that you bring in way too many guys, and again, like some guys know that and they still commit because that's where they want to go and they want to bet on themselves. But eventually, if you over recruit it, that and it's different if you're at like a top tier program, right? Because everybody wants to play there. But if you're over recruiting at like a not top tier program and just cutting a bunch of guys at the end of the fall or whenever, it starts becoming a reputation where guys are like, you don't want to go there. They bring in way too many guys. But when you under recruit, Canes, there's a bad thing too, is that like all of a sudden you didn't recruit enough good players, and the guys you thought were good aren't good, and now you have nobody in your class. Let the dice fall how it falls. For your clients who are not quite top tier but might get decent D1 interest, what are coaches telling them? What we're telling them is like just everyone's in limbo, and I think what most coaches are saying is like, we just have to know what our parameters are for next year. Like we just have to know what the parameters are. So what we're telling everybody is like, this is the slowest that recruiting has gone in a long time. And it's because there's so much uncertainty, right? Is the 5-year eligible? Like I bring this up in the video, but you're talking house settlement and portal right now is causing the most limbo. Then think about if the house settlement gets approved, it's probably likely from what I'm hearing and all the guys that work with Elite Sports Advising are hearing is that the 5-year eligibility is going to get approved. So then you got grandfathered in players, portal guys leaving or staying, whatever, with the house settlement, the grandfathered in players. And then all of a sudden, like, are players that are currently on rosters going to get grandfathered in to the 5 years of eligibility? Or is that only going to be for people coming onto campus? Like these are huge questions that impact roster building. And until you know answers to a few of them, you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how many guys I can recruit. Like, are we going to have access to those scholarships that you've probably already been telling guys like, hey, we got more scholarships in your class. We'll be able to offer you a bigger one. All of a sudden you're like, wait, can we offer that scholarship that we've been talking about? Either with the kid or with the coaching staff about what we're going to offer. Now you don't know if you can offer it because house settlement hasn't been approved yet. We have 18 commits and we brought in 18 freshmen last season. 2026 and beyond, that won't be the case. Yeah, because it's been a rebuild. It's been a rebuild for JD. So that makes sense. I just want to watch baseball. This is too stressful and confusing to follow. Yeah, I know, man. Imagine the coaches, dude. Imagine what the coaches are thinking. The coaches are like, dude, can we please just get the coaches are thinking the same thing, man. The coaches are thinking the same thing. They're just fed up with it. They just want to know what they can do and what they can't do. I did hear something today about the Georgia Tech job. Supposedly there is a decent sized group of alumni, donors, boosters, whatever you want to say it, that are in favor of James Ramsey taking the job. So that's a good sign if you're James Ramsey. It doesn't mean that that's going to happen, but I did hear that that he's got backing from some good guys within the inner circle of Georgia Tech as far as athletics that are donors, alumni, boosters, whatever. So that's a little bit of an update. It's not much, but I did hear that today, which is a good thing for James. And guys, one of the things that I think we talked about on the stream yesterday, but we're talking about Lamonis getting fired at Mississippi State, and how it was really surprising that it happened, end of April, not at the end of the season or whatever. And I think what you're going to start seeing is that becoming more common, is that schools want, with the portal, they feel like they want to get on top of things as fast as possible so that as soon as they can hire the guy they want to hire, it's done. They don't want to just start a search at the end of May and the portal opens in like a week. So I think you will start, because of the portal, you're going to start seeing coaches get let go like more commonly in season. Doesn't mean all of them are going to, but I think it's going to become more normalized because you can't wait till June 1st to fire a coach and the portal opens, the next day or 2 days later. You're not going to be able to get a deal done that fast if you're doing a search and you're doing interviews and people got to fly in and everything. So I think that's going to become more common. Are 2025 settled or still kids in limbo in that class? What about 26? No, 25s. I mean, listen, like to 25 class is, if the house settlement goes through, we have heard from some schools that like they're going to have to cut guys in the 25 class. Now that I think that's going to be, it's not going to be as much as you saw in the fall, but that is still a possibility for sure. That is still a possibility. The 26 class, it's more. The 26 class is not going to be as affected. It's just the 26 class recruiting is going way slower than the years past. So like they just have to be more patient because again, coaches don't know what they can do. Going to the Texas Arkansas series this weekend, who should I root for? Whoever you want. They're both good teams, man. That'll be a fun series. I mean, you got to give us some live reporting, White House, from the series. What you're seeing, who you think's the better team. Virginia is 73 in RPI. I just don't think there's enough games left for them to get into the 30s in RPI. They will probably have to win the ACC to make it. Yeah, I think it's going to be close, Zach. Again, a lot of times the committee will show kind of favor on a team that finishes well. So certainly Virginia is playing better now. And I think also they're going to I think they would probably, and you would hope, they take into account the fact that like they didn't get to play Florida State. Because think about it, Louisville beat Florida State. So Virginia had a shot. And the fact that they don't get those 3 games, they're probably going to take that into consideration when making a decision on Virginia. But I do think if Virginia, let's say they win the rest of their series, which is, let's see who it is against. So they play Miami. That's a big weekend for Miami and Virginia. And then Virginia Tech. So these are 2 teams that can boost their RPI pretty well. I think if they win both series and then they go deep in the ACC tournament, I think Virginia will be fine, but they definitely have to do that. They have to win both series and then go pretty deep in the ACC tournament. It's going to be close for them. Even if they do that, it's going to be close. Or you can move the portal back. How long until you think schools start contacting the agents of current Mississippi State players? Dude, I mean, in this era of college baseball, like that's probably already happening. At least in some regard. Or, like the shadowy boosters at other schools are already doing it. Like they're reaching out and DMing them or something. I wouldn't doubt that that's already happening. Just to be honest. Like it wouldn't surprise me in the least. So that's the nature of college baseball now, man. I guarantee LSU and Texas are probably reaching out. I mean, probably FSU also. I mean, again, dude, it's like that stuff goes on all the time. And again, I'm only speculating, but I'm assuming that's probably already happening, right? Like I mean that would not surprise me at all that it would already happen. That's already happening. College football player. A college football player will enter the portal and an hour later commit to a new school. Yeah, I mean, again, listen, that happens in all the sports, man. It happens in all the sports. Um, Unfortunately, but it does. And that's the thing right now, guys, is like I said, from the guys I've talked to over the last couple of weeks, there's going to be a bunch of movement as far as coaches this offseason. So, I mean, it's going to be the portal is going to be a nightmare. Who is Georgia Tech playing this weekend? Western Carolina. It's their non conference weekend. Again, like for Georgia Tech, I think if you're going to be a host, probably got to sweep Western Carolina and then, or at least win 2 out of 3. And then you got to win your final ACC series. And again, so like for where Georgia Tech's at right now, you know, they got two pretty difficult series coming up. They got Duke, who's playing really well, and they got Louisville, who just beat Florida State. So my belief is that if they win 2 of 3, 2 of 3 in those remaining ACC series, and then they beat Western Carolina, if they sweep them, I think they're definitely a host because both Duke and Louisville, the second half of ACC play, have been two of the best teams in the ACC. Duke right now is 14-10, which is good for sixth in the ACC. Louisville is 12-9 after just beating Florida State in a series, and they're good. They're tied for seventh with Miami. Where is the Big Ten tournament held? Big Ten baseball tournament. Let's see where it's going to be this year. Charles Schwab Field. Omaha, Nebraska. Charles Schwab Field in Omaha. So that's where it'll be. Who the hell is Western Carolina? It's a mid-major program in North Carolina in the up in the mountains. I've literally never heard of Western Carolina in my life. No disrespect to them. Oh, I mean, that's strange. I mean, Western Carolina's. I don't know. I thought a lot of people knew Western Carolina. Yeah, purple. The Catamounts. The Catamounts. And actually, they've got Alan Beck, who was the hitting coach and recruiting coordinator at Georgia Southern when they hosted the regional in 2022 at Georgia Southern. He's their head coach now. He played there, and so now he's the head coach. My little brother was coached by him at Georgia Southern. He was at Georgia Southern for a long time, and he got the Western Carolina gig. No, it's Western Carolina University. It's Western Carolina University. It's WCU. It's not WCC. All right, let's look at some of these. Who is a small school like Evansville last year that can make a super regional, dude? Generally, with those guys, with the small schools, it's generally like who's like starting right now, who's just like all of a sudden caught fire. Like those schools that are smaller that probably don't have the depth or anything close to like what an SEC or an ACC school has typically. For them, it's more about, okay, and again, usually they're conference champions, so they played well in their conference tournament. They won their conference championship. Those are the ones you want to you look out for. And again, it's more about teams that have had a good season or a really good season, and then they've just played well down the stretch to win their championship. Yeah, I mean, Kent State's one of those, man. Kent State's one that always gets in the tournament. They're playing really well this year. I know they have a big series coming up. Talking to Zeke last week, they got a couple big series coming up. I think Stetson is a 4 seed that can make a super regional. Dude, like I said, man, I think you're going to start seeing it. You're going to start seeing it more and more. Like mid majors are getting more and more competitive. And probably out of a non-Southeast regional where the 1 and 2 seeds aren't as strong pitching wise, like Evansville last year. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like if you get in a regional with Tennessee, or you get in a regional with LSU or Texas or whatever, like, dude, good luck. I mean, it's like unless you upset the 1 seed in the first game, it's so difficult as a 4 seed to win a regional. Stetson's 18-2 in their conference, I believe. Yeah. Southern Conference is a beast of a mid-major conference and has been for a long time. Yeah. Southern Conference and the Sun Belt are always very good. Very good. Yeah, Buck. Stetson's been playing crazy down the stretch. We'll go look at their numbers right now. So Stetson is 30-16. They are 18-3 in conference. As an offense, they're hitting 283 as a team. Not hitting a lot of home runs. They've got 32 home runs in 46 games, 67 doubles, 10 triples. So they're not slugging it. They're slugging like barely over 400. Their on base percentage is 379. So offensively, they're not doing a whole lot. They've scored 299 runs in 46 games. So the offense is not really the strength for Stetson. Let's look at the pitching. Pitching to a 4.02 ERA. So the pitching is the strength. Okay strikeout numbers. They're not walking a lot of guys. Opponent's batting average is 244. So if you look at their pitching has been a real strength. And like Kane said, Jonathan Gonzalez is leading the way. In 11 starts, he's got a 2.1 ERA, 68 innings pitched, 50 hits given up, 13 walks, and 77 strikeouts. So he's been the anchor all year for them. I've seen Stetson projected as a 3 seed in some brackets. Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, with their record, man, like if they win the conference tournament too, like they could definitely be a 3 seed for sure. They play a lot of small ball, pitch and play defense. I would imagine they don't make a lot of errors. Let's look at the fielding. They've made 43 errors in 46 games. So they're making less than 1 error per inning or per game, which is now 1 inning would be bad per game. So I think that sounds right, Zach. A lot of stolen bases. So they have guys with 20, 19, 9, 25, 7, 10, 7. They have 104 stolen bases in 126 attempts. So they're better than they have a pretty good ratio. So it makes sense. Like they're not hitting for a lot of power, but they're stealing a lot of bases and manufacturing runs that way, which would be fun to see in a regional. Because again, like there's not a lot of teams that run a whole lot. And so that would be fun to see in a regional for sure. Tournaments are about pitching, so would look around at who has top-end starter and solid bullpen. Yes, 100%. Like talking with someone today, that's the one thing I think if you're a Georgia Tech fan, you're worried about is what you're worried about is the way Georgia Tech's utilized the bullpen this year is you've basically thrown 3 starters and 2 bullpen arms the vast majority of innings. And so when you get into a regional, you're going to have to throw guys that have thrown like 5 innings in ACC play. You know, they may have more innings on the year against like the in the midweek in your non-conference schedule, but they haven't pitched big innings in ACC games. They've thrown, in 24 ACC games, the most innings thrown by a pitcher that wasn't a starter and isn't Mason Patel or Jalen Payton is 6 innings. So, and then like that's the most. The rest of the guys are at like 5, 4, 3, 3, 5. Are we going to do brackets for the SEC plus ACC tournaments, let alone for Omaha? We can definitely do that. Just sent you the Baseball America bracketology. Let me see. All right, I'll pull this up. If I can get rid of all these ads that pop up, man, it's crazy. All right, let's pull this up. All right, so let's zoom in on these so we can see it better. That's too much. There we go. All right, projected field of 64. Number 1, Texas, of course. Dallas Baptist, UTRGV. Bryant, you're assuming Bryant's going to win the American East. NC State as the 16th overall seed, which is crazy to me. They're leading the ACC. Like I'm telling you guys, it's the ACC is super undervalued right now. NC State is 15-6 in the ACC. They are 15-6 in the ACC, and they're the projected 16th seed. That's crazy. But let's keep going. The 2 seed is Georgia. When did this come out? There's no way the 2 seed can be Georgia. Came out today. What? How is Georgia the 2 seed? What's the chances Maryland wins the Big Ten tournament and gets into a regional? There's a chance. That's about all I can say. Dang, I forgot Austin Peay is in Stetson's conference. Austin Peay is 34-10. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good conference. All right, so Georgia, Southern Miss, Austin Peay, Central Connecticut. I don't know how you have Georgia as the 2 seed. Again, I think they should be probably a national seed still, but number 2 is kind of crazy. Just because, again, like, if you look in conference, Georgia's tied for 5th with Alabama and Vandy. So how is LSU, Arkansas, or Tennessee not the 2 seed? And again, Tennessee's has been not playing as well lately, but still, Alabama is the 15th overall seed, even though these two are tied in the SEC conference. Troy, Miami in Tuscaloosa or Southeast Missouri. LSU, you got Louisville, Southeast Louisiana, Wright State. Oregon State is still a projected host, even though they got 4 games swept by Oregon. And Oregon's the 2 seed. What? Oregon is the 2 seed at Oregon State, and Oregon beat this team 4 straight games. They have Miami going to Tuscaloosa, Canes. They have Miami going to Tuscaloosa. How does that make sense? Guys, how does this make sense? Oregon has literally beat Oregon State 4 straight games. And Oregon's not a host? Crazy. This is crazy. North Carolina, Xavier, Texas A&M, George Mason, Irvine, 13th overall seed, UCLA, Arizona State, San Diego. Yeah, I agree, Buck. I don't think Baseball America, like, to be honest, I don't see any content from them on college baseball, like, almost ever. So, like, how seriously are they even paying attention? I don't know how you can make Oregon State the 14th seed and a host over Oregon, who just dominated Oregon State. And then UCLA's not a host. And they win the Big Ten. They're projected to win the Big Ten, but they're not a host. Okay. Interesting. Auburn, the 5 seed. National seed. Again, kind of crazy. I mean, Auburn is playing well, but Auburn is tied for 9th in the SEC at 11-10. No, I mean, I get it. I get the metrics, Zach, but still, to me, I'm just like, did you play better against the best competition? Or did LSU, or did Arkansas, or did Tennessee, you know? I don't have a problem with Georgia being like a national seed at like 7 or 8, but I think 2 is a little bit ridiculous. Coastal Carolina, the 12th overall seed. Wake Forest, Kansas State, High Point. That'll be a tough regional. Clemson gets Kentucky, UConn, Holy Cross. I think that's a pretty good draw for Clemson, to be honest. Like, I think that, like, that's not taking anything away from Kentucky or UConn, but like, I just think overall, like, like North Carolina gets Texas A&M as a 3 seed. Like, that's tough because A&M is, like we know, is better than they've played, even after getting swept by Texas. Florida State, the 11th overall seed. So let's see. So right now that's 4 ACC hosts, I believe, right? Yep. Florida State gets TCU, Florida, Bethune-Cookman. That's a grinder that is a meat grinder of a regional. TCU and Florida. Florida playing Florida. Remember, Florida was 1-11 after 4 series in SEC play. They're 8-13 now. They've gone 7-2 in the last 3 ACC or SEC series. And then TCU's doing a really good job at the top of the Big 12. Now you get Arkansas, UTSA, Southern Cal, or Oral Roberts. Guys, this is maybe the best projected draw of a regional for any host. You get no ACC team in your regional. Not taking anything away from UTSA or Southern Cal, but I mean, like, Arkansas would take this draw in a heartbeat. West Virginia gets Ole Miss, Duke, Missouri State. Like this is a grinder. This is a meat grinder. You get an SEC team, an ACC team, and Missouri State, who's really solid. That's brutal. Vandy is the eighth overall seed and national seed, gets Georgia Tech, East Tennessee State, Fresno State. This will be a grinder as well. Let's see what Vandy's. I mean, Vanderbilt's 12-9 in the SEC. I do think Vandy. I think if you're Georgia Tech and if you're gonna have to go to be a 2 seed anywhere, one, like, you get sent to Vandy or Florida or Tennessee pretty much every year. If you're Georgia Tech and you're a 2 seed, you go to one of 3 places, and except for last year where they went to Georgia, which again is weird that they don't have Georgia Tech going to Georgia out here, because Georgia gets really, if you look at it, it's not an easy regional, but it's pretty decent. But Georgia Tech always gets sent to Florida, Vanderbilt, or Tennessee. I do think this Vanderbilt team is, compared to the other ones that they've always had to play against, is the most beatable. And that's not saying they're bad. They're like bad or something. Obviously, they're very good. They don't really have like the star power that Vandy usually has. They've got a great team. They're well coached. They're playing well, but they don't have those like 3 or 4 guys that when they step on the mound or they get in the box, you're like, oh shoot, right? And then Tennessee gets Kansas, Virginia Tech, and Fairfield. Which Kansas, I would not want Kansas in my regional. That's going to be tough. All right, let's just look at Vandy. Let's just look through Vandy and just kind of see what they've done. Do you know how much the committee takes into account RPI? Is that the biggest factor they use? I don't think, and they've ever said like what the percentage is. I think RPI is a big part of it, but they're like, again, they do consider other things as well, right? Again, like, there's other things they take into account, like, oh, they finished well, they finished strong. Vandy this year, guys. Vandy this year, like, if you look at them by the numbers, like, a lot of changes made, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They don't look much different. Vandy does not look much different. They're hitting 269 as a team. Their on-base percentage is 380. Their slugging percentage is 421. Like, they have nobody with double-digit home runs. They've scored 301 runs in 45 games. So they're literally scoring like 6.6 runs a game. Like, that's not great, man. That's not great. Guys like RJ Austin, who were supposed to be superstars this year. RJ Austin's hitting 256 with 1 home run. And he was supposed to be like a first-round pick. I mean, he's not doing anything. And then really, like, you got 2 guys hitting over 281 in the lineup. Riley Nelson's hitting 364. Jacob Humphrey's hitting 314. But you don't even have a lot of you got 67 doubles. You're hitting like 1.5 doubles per game. And 42 home runs, so less than 1 home run per game. They have 82 stolen bases on the year, so they are running like a decent amount. As far as errors go, this is, you want to know why Vandy's 12-9 with these offensive numbers? They've made 26 errors in 45 games. They're making almost half an error a game. Right, so they are playing. I'm sure they may be the best defensive team in the country when you put it together that they're playing in the SEC as well. Now they are playing on a turf field, that helps, right? Not a lot of bad bounces on turf, but still, 26 errors is 26 errors. Their opponents have made 53 errors in 45 games, so they have literally made half the errors of their opponents. White House, see you later, man. Have a good flight. Have a safe flight. UC Irvine should be a host. Oh, totally agree. They definitely should. But let's look at the other side, the pitching equation for Vandy. The other side is this. Their pitching is throwing to a 3.76 ERA. They've given up 300 hits in 383 innings. They've only walked 160 in 383 innings, and they've struck out 517. And if you really look at it, the strength of this Vandy team is the bullpen. The bullpen is the strength. Your starting pitchers have been fine. They've been solid in this era. You've got J.D. Thompson with a 4.42. You got Cody Bowker with a 4.5. And then you've got Austin Nye, who's probably been the best of the starters, who's got a 1.83 ERA, albeit he's thrown a lot less innings than the other guys. But if you look at this team, the bullpen is the strength. Like the vast majority of their bullpen arms are under a 4 ERA. And even some guys who started out pretty tough in the bullpen have really turned a corner. And so that's like if you look at their bullpen guys, here's a great recipe for success for Vanderbilt. I got to pull this up so you can see it. Just look at the allocation of appearances in this bullpen. All right, so you have your two starters up here, right? Your two starters are right here. And then Austin Nye, this guy right here, is a starter. But you look at all the rest of these guys, 12 appearances, 12 appearances, 11 appearances, 12 appearances, 15 appearances, 6 appearances, 14, 14, 14, 14, 11, 6, 11. Like these guys have all got a lot of it. They've all made a similar number of appearances. And so when they get into a regional, they're going to have a bunch of guys in that bullpen that they really know what they're going to get. And our boy Matthew Shorey, he started out a little bit tough, but he's up there in the bullpen with second most appearances, and he's really started to bring these numbers down. He's pitched really well lately. He's given up. He's got a 204 opponent batting average. Unfortunately, he just gave up a couple home runs early that really crushed his ERA, but he's actually pitched really well lately. And I think it's fair to, like, if we contrast this. Let me see here. Like this, and this is a good contrast, right? This is a great contrast for you guys to see. Like this is why for Georgia Tech, when you look at their bullpen allocation of appearances, it's a little bit worrisome for a regional because you're going to have to throw a bunch of guys. Like, look at this. And as far as look at the appearances, right? You have Mason Patel, you have your two starters and Brady Jones and Tate McKee. Jalen Payton's made 2 starts now. Caden Spivey's made 5, right? Like, where's Riley Stanford made 7. So you got to take all those guys out of the equation. So amongst your guys that have been purely out of the bullpen, you have 15 from Mason Patel. You have 14 from Caden Campbell, 7. This guy's been a starter. This guy's been a starter. 7, 13, starter. 16, 12, 8, 4, 13, 4, 2, 5, 2, 1. Like, you have a lot of guys here that have not pitched a lot of innings. And then when you go to the conference statistics and you look at this, like look at the innings in conference. This is your bullpen outside of Jalen Payton and Mason Patel and Caden Spivey, these guys that have been kind of starters and in between, and Patel's been the long guy. Like, look at these numbers of innings pitched. Like, almost nobody's pitched hardly any innings in the ACC. So that's what you're concerned about. Does Irvine have the facilities to host a regional? Yeah, I think they do. Vandy swept Florida and Georgia. That's why their RPI is number 3. Yeah. I mean, like, dude, and like, listen, it's Tim Corbin. He's an elite coach, and when I say like his guys do not make mistakes, right? His guys are incredible, and like when you go watch them pregame, you're like, dude, this is like kind of like it's like a military academy for baseball. I mean, it's just like everyone's moving, everyone's very disciplined, and you just get the sense that they're like, again, they're always a well-coached team. If Ramsey gets the job, would he keep the current pitching coach? I don't know. I would think so. The pitching has made a big the pitching staff has made a big jump forward this year. Again, you have to kind of caveat it with like the vast majority of innings have been to like 5 or 6 guys, right? So, like, if you look at the team ERA, it's a 4 or 5 this year. Last year at this time, it was like a 6 something. So it's a good over a run and a half better already. But the question is, like, when Mason Patel is gone and Jalen Payton is gone, like, I think both of them will be after this year. Like, who are you going to in the bullpen at that point? Who are you going to? And so, like I think there are going to be question marks for next year. Right? How much can you develop the guys that are currently on the roster? Who are you going to bring in? But certainly the team has pitched way better as a whole. And it's just a question of, ultimately that would be up to him. So it's like, I can't answer that question. It's like, I'm not in the dugout with him. I'm not in the coach's clubhouse with him. That's something that that's a decision obviously he'd have to make. Remember, guys, scan this QR code right here if you're interested in working with Elite Sports Advising and getting help in the recruiting process. Just fill out that form, and we'll schedule a meeting with you to just talk about what we do and see if it's the right fit. If you guys were not here at the beginning of the stream to see the breaking news and the email that was sent out to college coaches by the NCAA across Division I baseball concerning the new changes, the delayed House settlement. Just when this stream is over, it will be on YouTube and it'll be here on X. You can go back, rewind. It's like right at the very beginning when I get on camera, we talk about it. So if you didn't get to see that, make sure to tune in once the stream is over. Nothing like a good pinching coach. That helps to loosen up. Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Like I said, we will keep you guys updated with the House settlement stuff and any more breaking news that comes out. Head over to our YouTube channel, Elite Sports Advising on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button if you're viewing on X or YouTube. Make sure you do that. And we'll be back tomorrow with another stream. See you guys later.